Can you share first the 80-80-80 goal that you all have? You mentioned very briefly in the beginning, like the rebounding component of it and tying that in with what you guys are doing, both offensively and defensively. So explain that, and then I'll ask you about the figurines.
Gotcha. So a few years ago, about 7 years ago at Stack, we were pretty good, pretty athletic, and I don't think we could shoot. We were like a bad shooting team, so we had to stress rebounding. So like, how we going to win? We got to rebound. And so we had this hustle chart we did, based on back tips, charges, but more based on offensive rebounds, attempts on the offensive boards, box out attempts, and then our defensive transition. So we had a thing for each player, but we also had a team thing. So we had three categories. It was box outs. So we chart every shot. If there's a box out attempt, if we're hitting first and there's a box out, if you're a guard that your guy's not going, you have to at least look and check. And if there's no one there, you got to go get to the nail hole area or go help another big guy. So box out attempts was one. Two was offensive rebound attempts, not just offensive rebound, but the shots taken. Are you making two moves, swim move, spin move, making two moves to get the offensive boards? So we chart every time a guy is a crasher. So we have crashers and give back guys. If the crasher makes an attempt, he's 1 for 1, right? So we chart box outs, offense rebound attempts, and then our guards, who are the get back guys, have to be back in their spots on defensive transition. So for us, it's the X's, the top of the key, and then the charge circle under the basket, the hole. We call it the hole. If the ball crosses half court and those guards are in those spots, they get a point, or they're 1 for 1 on that defensive transition. So every time a shot's taken on the offensive end, each guy is graded by their offensive rebound attempt if they're a crasher, or defensive transition if they're a give back guy. Then everybody's graded on the box outs. So if we can get 80% as a team, 80% on box outs, 80% on offensive rebound attempts, 80% on defensive transition, our record from that time forward until last year was something like 94-1 when we got 80-80-80. And we won a lot of games, but there's games we lost when our box out percentage was 72 and our offense rebound was low. But we knew if we got to 80-80-80, we're gonna have a pretty good chance to win. And that's something we can, besides scoring 20 points, besides hitting a bunch of threes, it was something we could say, hey, this is something that's important to us, that we know it helps us win games. Our guys can see it clearly, and they would get mad at each other. So let's say we were, defensive box outs, we were like 78%. And one guy missed 3 box outs. Well, his 3 box outs got us to 78 when it could have been like 84. And so there's always a punishment for not getting 80-80-80. So even if we won and we didn't get it, we'd have we call it a gauntlet, which is a 17 in a minute, and then a minute rest, and a 17, and then a 9 and 30 cross, nine touches in 30 seconds. And the gauntlets are not fun at all. So it was a way of us kind of like, hey, let's get this 80-80. It helps us win games. And it became a big thing for our program, for our team. And we're going to do the same thing here, same kind of way of charting those three categories.
And then how does that work on an individual basis? And how do you then motivate the guys to do that?
Yeah, so we had a way of each guy, so we graded out, right? And I'm not a math guy by any means at all, but we had a way of grading out. So each guy would have a grade on there. So not just those 3 categories were the team things, but then it was like the individual stuff too. But then it was like, all right, who took charges, who got first of the floor, things like that. So if you grade out the highest, we had a belt, like a wrestling. It's over here. I'm gonna get it right now. Give me 2 seconds. I can't. It's all tied up. I can't give it. It's right over this corner right. There's a belt. The belt's right there in that corner right there. So the guy who got the highest score got a belt. And the rest of it got to wear it for the week, put it in his locker. It was a big thing. And so the guys loved it. We played music. We played John Cena music. The guys would all go crazy. It was a big thing for us to get that belt and have to be the champion. The guards would get mad because the guards didn't have enough stats to get to where the big guys were at. Big guys want to be rewarded too. So we did that. And then one of the cool things we did, we started about being a superhero, right? So if you're a superhero, we wanted to rebound, right? So if a big guy, a crasher, got 8 rebounds, he got a superhero. I got a couple of them here. Like we got these. There's like a mutant ninja turtle. I'm not sure that's a superhero, but it was a figurine. Here's a Brock Lesnar WWF wrestling guy. So if you got 8 rebounds as a crasher and 5 rebounds as a guard, you got a superhero. And like, so we had guys within their lockers would have like 10 or 15 superheroes, Superman, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, all these little figurines in their lockers. And the guys loved getting them. They were like, no. And so if a guy had like 7, he'd go back through the stats of the films. And actually I had 8, and we'd argue and go back and forth or whatever it was. It was a good way for us saying, hey, this is a big game for us tonight. It's gonna be a physical game. We need at least 4 superheroes tonight, and it just became a big thing. And I think guys like stuff like that, the belt, the 80, the figurines, like, it's just kind of a way of reminding them what's important to us. And like, I was told that a long time ago, it's not what you teach, it's what you emphasize. And so we found a way of emphasizing it, but also making it like a fun thing where guys enjoyed that. And that became a major part of our program.
Yeah. Coaches are always asking about like motivation, competitive type stuff. And like I said, Burton and I love that. We already bought our Captain America, Black Panther, and Batman. So
there's a dollar store. We used to go to a dollar store, and I'd go in, I'd walk in there, and there's like a whole bucket. I'd buy like 50 of these things. People probably thought I was crazy. This grown man buying these figurines, but they go a long ways,